tea and a chat. That's all you need. If you can hear rummaging in the background, it's my dogs because they're currently having their breakfast. So I will have to stop momentarily to go and sort them out shortly. Anyway, I thought I would do a follow-up video, gastric sleeve stuff, talk about gastric sleeve stuff. The fact that tomorrow it is 3 weeks since I had my second surgeries to do with my weight loss journey, and then I added on to that my eyelid surgery. So I thought I would take you through some of the things to do with that, where I had it done, etc, etc. I'm sure I did say on the first one that I did have my gastric sleeve done in Cyprus. Again, you need to research where you're going, you need to research your surgeon, and you do need to research your anaesthetist. So for me, I just want to make that abundantly clear. This is my opinions, these are my views, these are where I went, and you do need to do your own research on places or people that you are going to have surgeries with. It is really, really important and vital to your recovery, etc. Okay, so said all the gumpy stuff. So I had it done with Cyprus Obesity. With my surgeon, which was Dr. Varol. His team are amazing. They have actually absolutely done me amazing, and I can't wait to, for those of you that know, my mum and dad and my brother and his wife and their family all live in Cyprus. So next time I go, I will go back over to the north side and I will go and see Dr. Varol and get some after pictures, because it'd be really cool, because I've got a before picture with him. So it'd be really cool if I could get an after picture. So I do intend on doing that at some point in the future. So going forward, it was 13 months after my gastric sleeve. I'd lost, I think, just under the 6 stone mark, nearly 6 stone. And I decided that due to my size, I wanted to have a tummy tuck. I will do a whole video just about my tummy tuck. But today I'm only touching on it briefly because what I've really been getting loads of conversation about is my eyes, and also with my tummy tuck I don't have my results just yet because it is only 3 weeks tomorrow. Right, let's talk eyelids. Okay, so I have had hooded eyelid surgery. I'm not sure if that's the actual legit proper name for the surgical procedure I had, but essentially I used to have really, really hooded eyelids to the point where my skin was hanging down. So I struggled with doing my makeup. I found myself over time, I think it's got worse. As I've got older, it's got worse. Obviously I am 38 and I've had Botox. I used to have Botox years ago. And do you know what, actually, I'm just going to touch on something before I go off on, I'm going to have a little bit of a train off here. So I get lots of comments at the moment on my social media like, oh, you think you're better than you are, you think you're amazing, you think you're this, you think you're that, blah, 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 blah. I've always been a cosmetic surgery person. I've always been very much bettering myself. I've always been someone who wore extensions because my hair was always shit. I had Botox before I first ever got married, my first wedding, which was way before TikTok was even invented. Apologies for the dog drinking in the background. And I get a lot of comments about saying, who does she think she is now, etc. I'm exactly who I was. The only thing that I think has changed about me is I do have a bit more confidence and I feel better about myself. So I'm probably happier. You quite finished? Go and get in your bed then, thank you. Your click-clack toe noises in the background, sorry. So, I don't think I've changed in any sense of the word of you're a completely different person and you think you're better than other people, because I don't think that at all, and I don't think that's what I put across. I think I'm still exactly who I was, and anybody who's known me for a very long time, and I do have friends that have known me since I was young. I've got a friend who's going to be my bridesmaid at my wedding, and she's known me since school age. Okay, we were estranged for a few years and then reconnected, but I don't think that I'm any different to who I was. So for me, doing these things, it's just about the fact that I'm in a position now where I can afford to do them because my children are growing up, so they don't need the same financial stuff that they were then. I don't know. Anyway, so my hooded eyelids have troubled me for quite some time. Even doing makeup when I was younger, I didn't wear a lot of makeup, but I struggled because as soon as I put any eyeliner on, it literally covered that piece and then the skin would hang down and you couldn't see anything else. So I never really put any eyeshadow on. I've never really done tutorials with makeup or anything, because I just couldn't get any sort of nice look because my eyelids were just so hooded. And it is something that's bugged me for a really long time. And with getting married next year, and you know, I do have my Botox, and I do care about my appearance, and I've done a skin journey, which I may touch on briefly with you. I really felt like, do you know what, this is something I want to do. And I have to be honest, this is one of the things, the other surgeries I've not really thought twice about doing. I'm like, right, I'm doing it. This surgery was the one surgery where I was like nervous, really nervous. And the reason for that is because it's on my face, and that makes it sound incredibly vain. But I was like, if this fucks up, it's my face. And I'm pissed off with my face anyway with my eyelids. So if I have this done and I look worse, then what? And again, it seeps back into your mental health. But for me, the balance of it was, I feel far worse right that second before having it done, and I'll have to just deal with the consequences of if it goes wrong. Now, in saying that, I made sure I went to somebody who I was confident would be able to do a good job. I was confident from all of their reviews that their scarring was really minimal. I mean, I'm gonna attempt to show you now, right? So you can see on the outer corners, obviously it is 3 weeks post-op. So you can see here, you've still got a bit of the stitch line, and it's a bit, it's still a bit, maybe inflamed is the right word, but here, there is barely anything visible. Here, I'm hoping I'm pointing to the right places, is barely anything. From tomorrow, I can start using like scar reduction stuff and massaging my eyelids to try and help reduce the inflammation. Now the cat's starting. I think the dogs are all on one today. I couldn't sit in my bedroom and do this because Callum's asleep, the boys are asleep, Nicole's not currently here, so I could have sat in her room, but it's an absolute shit tip because she's a teenager. So I decided to sit down here, but my animals are not helping me this morning. Never work with children or animals, that's what they say. Hang on, I'm going to have more drink. So I made sure to research exactly the surgeon that I was going to. Because of all the like bad press, which is probably bad, I shouldn't go on that. There are lots of good stories about Turkey, but for me, Turkey's never been a country that I would contemplate going to simply because of all the bad press, quite frankly. I'm sure there's incredible places which people do go to and have success stories at, but for me, I didn't even look at there. I do look abroad always, and the simple reason is finances. I can't do it in the UK. My gastric sleeve in the UK would have cost me about 15 grand. It cost me 3,200 in Cyprus. My eyelid surgery in the UK I looked at because I thought it'd be quicker, because eyelid surgery is literally a local anaesthetic, so you're not put to sleep. They do a local in the area you're having it done, so you can't feel it. And then they cut your eyelid open while you're awake. You can have your surgery in the morning, and by the afternoon you can leave. So I was like, I'll do it in the UK because it's going to be so much quicker. I don't really want to go abroad for like a day and mess about and have to come home. Like, it would just be really faffy. In the UK, it was going to cost me 2.5 grand to have my eyelids cut off. I researched, and what I actually paid for it was 650 euros. Now it cost me 50 euros to get, 50 quid to get to Prague, and I think the flight back was like 48 or 40 quid, so essentially £100, so 750 euros just to fly to Prague in a day, get my eyelids done and fly home. I didn't end up doing that in the end. I did go to Prague, but I didn't end up going just for a day, because then I researched into the company and I found they did all sorts of other cosmetic surgeries, and they did a tummy tuck, which was the next thing that I wanted to have done. So I did end up having dual purpose, and I ended up having my tummy tuck with the same surgeon and having my eyelids done. Altogether, it came to about 3,000 euros. And that included the breakdown of like the hospital stay, the compression garment, the anaesthetist, all that sort of stuff. It was all together. So I ended up spending 650 euros to get my eyelids done. And I actually think that is a reasonable amount of money. They're at it again. What is going on with my animals today? I think that's actually a reasonable amount of money to change my appearance in such a way that it's making a difference to how I do my makeup. Okay, so it is 3 weeks tomorrow since having it done. I'm still not 100% healed, but I'm like, I think 90% there. So I have worn makeup twice, and already I have seen a massive difference in how I can apply my makeup, how it goes on, that kind of stuff. Now I am due, sounds so bad, I am due a Botox top up, which was due before my surgery, but when I spoke to my surgeon and I said, I'm due my Botox, should I have it done, shouldn't I have it done, or wait, or whatever, he said I wasn't allowed to have anything done until after my surgery because it could essentially make a difference to my eyes. Now I have Botox on my forehead, love Gordon Ramsay, but I call these my Gordon Ramsay lines, which obviously look are now back, to smooth my lines here. I also have my crow's feet done now, and this time I'm going to be attempting to have these lines here, you see here, these smiley lines here, because when I now am starting to wear more makeup, it lays in the creases and I feel like it gives me an older appearance than I am. I do feel like I look younger now than I did because of having the weight loss, like being fatter. Quite frankly, I looked old and my skin made me look old. But I guess essentially all of the things I've had done are for my own self-improvement and my own self looking at my reflection in the mirror and what I'm happy to see. I do think there is a fine line between doing too much and fucking it up and ending up looking like some of these people that have got like way too much filler in their faces and blah, blah, blah. I have never been a person who sat there and said, oh, I'd never do that. I'd never do that. I know I will do these things, and I actually do need to make sure that I stay grounded and make sure that I don't do too much, because I don't want to look ridiculous, but I want to look fresh. I want to feel fresh when I look in the mirror. I know age will get to us all, and I know that eventually I'm going to be a wrinkly binkly, but I do feel like at the age of 38 that there's no necessity for me to feel older than I do right now. Now, the company that I went to Prague. I don't know if I've said that already. I went to Prague, and the company that I went to is called IsCare. They aren't on TikTok. They are on Instagram. They do have a Facebook site, and they are very good. The only thing I would say is the aftercare situation, if things go wrong when you go abroad, is thinking about where you will go. I know there's a lot of controversy about using the NHS afterwards, and I have done my utmost to not use the NHS, and so far so good. I haven't had to. I will do a whole segment about my tummy tuck because I feel there is a lot more to the story with my tummy tuck. However, I'm literally, like I say, 3 weeks post-op, and I don't feel until like I'm a good few months that I can share that journey yet, because I don't have my end results. I don't have what my scar's going to look like. It looks incredible so far. I have had a few hiccups in the last couple of weeks, which if you've been following my socials, you will have known about anyway. But that doesn't mean I won't go back to this company. The last thing I want doing is actually my boobs. And for anybody who doesn't know that journey, I had my boobs done, first of all, before I ever had children. So again, cosmetic surgery is not new to me. I had them done when I was probably about 19. And I loved them. Best thing I ever did. I was like a B cup, I think, before I had them done. And I ended up being like a D, sort of double D for my size. I think I looked lovely. It looked nice. It looked all in keeping with my frame, etc. And I was fucking happy with them. Unfortunately, around about the time I had Freddie, it all came out on the news about dodgy PIP implants, and you should check your medical cards, yada, yada, yada. Bear with, just going to have another swig of this. So, as luck would have it, because anything that can go wrong essentially goes wrong with me. So I had checked my medical card and realised that I did in fact have these particular implants. I then had to make an appointment with my GP, and I had to have a scan done on my boobs to check whether they had ruptured. I had no pain, I had no swelling, I had no issues. However, it did show that one of them was rupturing. or it had ruptured, I'm not really sure which, I can't remember, it's quite some years ago, and I was in quite a lot of distress because I'd been breastfeeding Freddie. I was worried about his health in case whatever this was had leaked into my breast milk, etc. And I must add, at this point, when I had my boobs done, the surgeon at the time, I was really, really happy with them. I had them done in England. I had them done with a company called Body Looks International, which have now gone, funnily enough, bust. My animals are on one today. And yeah, I had spoken to him. He was like, you know, you're young. When you want children, are you going to want to breastfeed? La la la. And I was like, well, yeah, I guess I'd hope to. So he implanted them in a way that it didn't affect that and that I could still breastfeed. So I breastfed all my children, and I was breastfeeding Freddie. It was really stressful. Like, the whole experience was really, really stressful about him and if he was okay. Anyway, so I needed them removed and I needed them replaced because they were potentially causing a lot of damage in my body. They were full of mattress filler, non-medical grade silicone, all that sort of stuff. It was all nasties. Did go through a whole court case, didn't get anywhere because the solicitor didn't sign the right part on the paperwork, so I lost out on so much. Anyway, that's another story. So I had them done again. Now, unfortunately, I couldn't afford to have them done in the UK, as I keep saying about all my surgeries. That is a lot of the reason I do choose to go abroad is finances, quite frankly. So I researched. My sister-in-law is actually from Poland, and there was a company in Poland, and I felt, it sounds ridiculous, because she's Polish, I felt safe going to Poland. But essentially that was where I went with it. Yeah, so I researched them, found they were a great company, spoke to, actually with them, I can't remember the company I went to actually, I should have a look. With them, they actually put you in touch with previous patients, which I thought was a really good idea. If you're a previous patient with them and you tick a certain box, you're allowing other patients to get in contact with you and ask about your experience. And actually that made me feel really confident and really safe in their abilities. So I ended up going with them. Great experience, didn't have any problems. They were quite good with their English speaking, etc. I spoke to my consultant beforehand and I was like, look, I want them exactly the same. At that point, I was going to have an uplift as well, because obviously they're drooped. I'd had 3 children by that point. And he was like, yeah, no problem. I'll have an anchor cut this time instead of just the cuts underneath. And I was happy with that. Now, I woke up and they were really big. And I was like, I don't remember them being this big the last time. So when he came around to check, I was like, you've done the same size, right? He was like, 100%, yeah, they're exactly what you wanted. They're exactly what you asked. It's just swelling. It will all go down. I was like, right, okay, fine. That's fine then. Yeah, the swelling didn't go down. By the time it was 2 or 3 weeks post-op, I had a look on the medical cards and I compared them to my old medical card from my first time. And I think the first one, it said 300 and something, or 300 cc I had. And this one was 380 cc or 420 cc. Anyway, it was ridiculous. So I emailed them and I was like, you've literally made me go up 2 cup sizes, guys. This is not what I asked for. He was like, it will suit you, it's your body frame, blah, 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 blah. So I was really, really mad. Really mad. Because now they were bigger than what I'd wanted. They were bigger than what I asked for. And essentially I'm stuck with them. So for all of this time, as I got bigger in my size and as I put on weight, my boobs haven't really bothered me because they kind of were in keeping with how big my frame was. They didn't feel ridiculously big. They didn't feel out of proportion. From having my gastric sleeve and for the last 13, 14 months losing all that weight, my boobs feel ridiculous. They look ridiculous. I get mad about tops, nice tops that I really want to wear. I can't wear because my tits are too big. So that is the next surgery that I wanted to have and will be having. And essentially, with how well it's going with my tummy tuck and how well it's gone with my eyes, I will be going back to the same surgeon and I will be going back to Iscare in Prague and having my boobs done. I do need to investigate how much it's going to cost me, but obviously I know it's a lot cheaper than A, anywhere in the UK, and B, I feel comfortable going there now that I've had 2 surgeries with them, both successful. I will go there. Now, there's lots of people that have the mummy makeover and they have their boobs and their tummy tuck at the same time. This particular surgeon said, because that's what I wanted, I said, can I go have my boobs done, my tummy tuck, and I want my eyelids done? He was like, you can't have all 3. It's too much. Your body can't take that. It's too much. you can have, and he said, I won't do 2 major surgeries, as in like your tummy tuck and your boobs at the same time. He said that is way too much for your body to handle. He said you can have your boobs done with your eyelids, or you can have your tummy tuck done with your eyelids. That's all I'm going to do for you. And again, I feel like that is a good, firm, fair, reputable surgeon that's not just like, take your money, I'll do all of it. Like, he actually gave a shit. So for me, I feel like, again, this is not any sort of, I'm not getting any sort of commission. I should be, really. Anyway, not getting any sort of commission or advertising for them. Yeah, he is going to do my boobs for me as soon as I can afford to do it, basically. I need to message them and email the company and see how much it is, because I genuinely haven't looked. And then I can assess when I can get them done. And I'm hoping that I can afford to get it done before my wedding. But if I can't, I can't, because, you know, I'm happy in my dress. I'm all good. So it just means for in the future that I can have them so that I'm a little bit more in keeping with my body. And now that I do have a flat washboard stomach, not rubbing it in for those of you that don't, but fucking genuinely excited about the fact that I do, it would be nice to have my boobs in keeping with the rest of my body now that I've lost that weight. I don't really know where to go from here, really. It was just a bit of an informational thing. I've told you the cost. I've told you where I've had it done. I've told you the reasons I've had it done there. I've gone off on tangents at least 6 or 7 times in general Jodie theme. And I still haven't even managed to finish my tea. So again, I'm going to have a drink of this. I'm going to have a thought process on it if there's anything else I'm missing. Let me have a think.